and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we do have some really important and really key Barça news topics for discussion today. We're going to be talking about Ansu Fati. We're also going to be discussing Frenkie de Jong and Ronald Araujo in detail, and I am still going through plenty of your guys' questions here today as Lionel Messi appears again in a TalkFCB video. It has been a while, but he's back. And that in itself is cause for celebration. It is all on the way for you here today, guys. Thank you for joining me, and let's do this. But I do want to kick off here today, guys, with some extra special shout-outs, and they come from super thanks regulars on the channel. Of course, you guys all know Saeed by now, and he is still not too happy with how Deco is running things at Barça. Here is Deco's severance payment. Please get him out. Barça are on their way back, and this is the last guy standing in the way of a total comeback. And I also want to give a huge shout-out here to Jesse, of course. He is a big supporter of the channel. He has been going through some difficult times recently. He is okay now, and I really do appreciate the support coming in from all of you guys. Thank you very much. And so let's begin here today, guys, with an update, and a really important one here, on how the Camp Nou is progressing. Work has been coming along really well on the new stadium, and I think what we're starting to see right now is some real transformations. We are starting to see things taking shape, and as you would expect, as we get closer to the all-important month of December right now, because the word in the media, the latest update on the new stadium, is that everything remains on track, because there have been a few doubts as to whether Barça will be ready to return there. Are we going to be able to come back in the next few months? But apparently, the deadlines, they are being met, and we are still within the budget that was set out for this project as well. And Barça right now do indeed plan on returning to the Camp Nou before the end of this year. It will be at a reduced capacity, but from what we're hearing in the media right now, that number could be potentially 64,000 fans inside of our new stadium, maybe in December. That would be absolutely incredible. I hope that it happens. I really do. I want to be back there so badly. I think that would give us an even bigger push this season, an even greater feeling surrounding the club. And as we can see right here, work definitely is progressing. But indeed, guys, we must move on to what is a very big and very important topic right now. We need to talk in detail again about Frenkie de Jong, because remember, guys, we have said here, this international break, it was absolutely key for Frenkie de Jong and his injury situation, because it seemed as though before the break there was a little bit of optimism that maybe after this international break was done, he'd be ready to return there, either to group training or just to matches, that he would be ready to play, or very close to it. Maybe he wouldn't be feeling any pain anymore in that ankle. However, the signs are not good. Last night, Rack 1 came out and said Frenkie de Jong won't be there on Sunday. He will not play against Girona. He will also not be involved against Monaco. And still, here today, there is no fixed date as to when he'll be back, when he can return, when he will be ready to play again. That is a massive blow here. We have been waiting on this break. It's been 2 more weeks here that have gone by. They've been and gone, and still nothing by way of Frenkie de Jong's return, because right now he is still only able to train individually. He is not even with the group right now. That has not happened yet, and the signs, they're just really difficult to understand what is happening. There doesn't even seem to be an end in sight, because it gets even worse, because multiple sources last night reaffirmed here that even despite this latest setback, even despite here still not having any idea when that return will happen, de Jong is refusing surgery. He does not want to undergo surgery under any circumstances. The final decision, it is his decision at the end of the day, even despite the club's doctors. They have gone to Frenkie, they've said, look, we feel right now this is the best option, this is the way forward, but Frenkie would rather opt right now for conservative treatment, and he still rejects the idea of surgery. And I just find this whole situation extraordinary, guys. This is a player who has been out since April. We are verging on 5 months now on the sidelines without any idea of when he can come back, when he can play, when he can train with the group, and there's nothing really being done to change that. There's no action really being taken here to sort of move things along in any way. And of course you add to all of this, and the number one cause and the root of the frustration right now is that Frenkie is earning the most money of anybody in our squad. That only adds to the situation. That only adds to the tension here. Because I do want to mention, and I do want to come on to talk about a super thanks I received here. Brilliant one coming in from Lynn, because this is a sentiment that I feel is shared by a lot of Barca fans right now. And the super thanks reads as follows. Wouldn't it have been a great sign if Frenkie de Jong, like Lewandowski, offered to reduce his wages to help the club, especially because he's out injured and he's not playing right now? And I definitely wonder, and I often do, what do you guys think of that? Especially given the fact that, yeah, Frenkie cannot play right now. We know that he's the highest earner at the club. We know that Barca were having lots of issues again over the summer. Do you believe that Frenkie should have come forward, that he should have made some effort there to approach the club and say, look, can I help? Is there anything that I can do in this situation? And given my situation, can I do something on my contract? Because honestly, one thing I'd say, before I give my thoughts on that, is that I don't believe that any player should have to help the club. Because obviously, at the end of the day, they were given the contracts by the club. They were signed off, they were handed out to them. And I know that Frenkie's deal, of course, didn't come from the current president. It came from our last president, who was a disaster. So there's that. But ultimately, it's not on the players to solve the club's financial situation. We know what the hierarchy are doing. We know that it is their decisions in the end that will help us get out of this mess. Obviously, the players don't have the ultimate responsibility. But the one thing that I would say about Frenkie right now is not necessarily that I expect him to reduce his salary, that I expect him to come to the club and say, look, I can help, I'll play for less, I'll do this, I'll do that. I don't really think any player should be pressured into that kind of situation. But what I would like to see from Frenkie, and what I feel has not happened at all, is just a willingness to talk to the club, to negotiate a new deal. You know, forget about reducing his current deal. What about a new deal? You know, I don't understand. For many, many, many years now, Frenkie and his agent, they've never even spoken to the club. They've never even tried to talk about the possibility of renewing. And now me as a fan, you know, forget about our financial situation. Me as a hardcore fan of this club, I want to see players who want to be here. I want to see players here who want to pledge their future to the club, who want to be here for many, many years. Remember that Frenkie de Jong, he's in his prime years. He's entering the prime of his career. These are the kind of years that you'd want to see him at the club and continue for. But we don't even know if he will be right now. So I'm not so angry here at the fact that Frenkie maybe isn't reducing his salary, but it does frustrate me. There's no talks. There's not even any willingness right now, especially for somebody who's out injured and can't play. You'd think they'd be trying to look at their future. You'd think they'd be trying to say, look, here's my loyalty to the club. This is what I want to do. I want to be here. I want to stay here for many, many years to come, and at least trying to open some dialogue. That has not happened yet. And I think that for many of us might be where the frustration lies. And I guess you only add to that fact then the fact that it's not just him. Because also, I want to make it very, very clear here, this is not all about Frenkie. Our problems aren't all because of Frenkie de Jong. Because the other issue that we have, and why, again, there's some frustration in the fan base, the exact same situation is happening with Ronald Araujo. And it's the same kind of situation whereby the contract expires in 2026. Now, that is not all that far away, as we know. He is currently on the sidelines for an extended amount of time. He's not going to be back until, at the very, very least, the end of the year. He's had a lot of injury problems of late. He is one of our key players when fit. But again, there is absolutely no sign right now of that renewal happening. And especially with Araujo, apparently a renewal offer has been sent by the club. Apparently they have actually tried to open talks there with Araujo's representative. But the club right now, what we're hearing, especially this week in the international break, they've heard nothing. Absolutely no reply has come their way on that potential new contract agreement. And guys, by the time Araujo comes back, he'll enter the last 18 months of his deal. And before you know it, the summer will be here. You know, from that moment on, the summer will be here, then you're in the last year. And then you've got a real problem, because suddenly then all of these market values that you could have sold Frenkie de Jong for, that you could have sold Araujo for, big, big money, you're talking 80 million, 100 million, 90 million, all these kinds of figures. If you're in the last year of your deal, they get slashed. And that's a massive problem for the club. You know, we need revenue coming in. If we were to sell key players, which we don't want to do anyway, but if we were, you want to get top dollar for them. You want to get the absolute maximum market price. Players that are entering their last year, you've got no chance of that. And that is why the club right now, they're in a difficult situation. They are trying to renew these players on new contracts. They want to renew Frenkie, Araujo. We want these players at the club. They are top players. They are top talents. But we can't force it. You know, if they're not signing those renewals right now, maybe they want more money. Maybe the club aren't willing to give it to them right now. Maybe we're not even in the position to offer more money. But nothing is happening. And obviously still there's enough time. There's plenty of time to act. There's plenty of time to get all of this done. But as the days tick on and as we keep moving along here without no news, no talks, nothing at all happening, the more time that passes by, the more value that you are losing, the more control really on this situation that you are losing grip of. So I think these two players here, Frenkie de Jong, Ronald Araujo, they are the club's priority right now. And even if they can't play, even if they're not in action, even if they are on the sidelines, we must be working behind the scenes. We must get control of this situation somehow, because it's not ideal. However, guys, if we do now move on to something that is more positive, and let me just say, I think it's a lot more positive, because I would like to talk about the big news from yesterday that Ansu Fati completed the main part of training with the rest of the group as he continues to close in on his return to this team. And I've got to say right now, guys, things are looking really, really good when it comes to Ansu Fati. He is expected there to really target Sunday's game against Girona as his potential return to the squad. And with so many games to come in these next few weeks, we're going to see him out there. We're going to see Ansu Fati in a Barcelona shirt again, and for the very first time under the leadership of Hansi Flick. Now, I've got to say, guys, and I've got to be honest here, it's exciting. You know, I find myself here getting quite hopeful, getting quite excited about the return of Ansu Fati and what he can achieve, you know, what he can actually do in this Flick Barca team. I think it is an exciting prospect because, look, he is a young man who is still only 21 years old. He is still very, very young, even despite lots happening to him so far in his career. We know that he's had enormous highs at this club, his breakthrough, the way that he stormed onto the scene, of course, as a youngster. And then, of course, what followed was absolutely agonising and shattering lows that really hit us all hard. And you know what? With his return here, with the way that, again, he's had to come through adversity, I feel as though he deserves a moment to feel good again. He deserves to feel important, valued in a squad, to feel loved by a coach. And I think under Flick, like I say, he's put that arm around him. He does have trust in Ansu. He has belief in him. And that is really, really important. For any player here, you've got to feel belief. You've got to feel as though you're wanted, you're needed. You yourself have got to have hope. And what I would just say on Ansu, guys, a lot of people will mention, well, he's not the same player since his injury there. Can he ever return to what he was? You know, are we ever going to see him as we once knew him? But let me just say one thing here. For sure, this man can score goals. This is a player who, no matter what's happened with injuries, no matter what's happened in previous years, he can finish. In front of goal, he has the potential, he has the quality to be absolutely clinical. Because during his breakthrough, guys, in a Barca shirt, early days of Ansu Fati, one of the most composed players you will see in front of goal. And at his age, at the age that he was at, that was not normal. He has a natural-born ability to score goals and to finish chances, and you do not lose that ability. What you do lose is the confidence. That's what he's lost over these years. And yes, his body may not be the same, he may not move in the same way, but if you can still get him in the right positions, at the right times, if he can still be able to have freedom in an attacking position at Barca and gets chances inside the area, he can score. It is all about recapturing that confidence, and that is why it's important that he does feel valued under Flick, that Flick puts confidence into him, because I do still believe that Ansu can be valuable to this team, that he can contribute, that he can play a part in a Barca shirt, and I want to see it. I'm not holding back at all here. I am being completely and utterly honest. I would love to see Ansu scoring again. I would love to see him with a smile on his face. He deserves that. He really, really does. And we are closing in on his return. However, guys, in today's video, we must talk just a little bit about Lionel Messi, because I've got a question here that's very, very simple, but at the same time, it really hits me. Do you miss Messi in Barca? Because I do a lot every single day. And you know what, guys? I do miss Messi. I really, really do. And it sort of hits me at random times. You know, sometimes you can go on and you can forget about things, but then other times I do just think, well, where's Leo? What is he doing? You know, how is he doing? We haven't spoken about him on the channel for such a long time, and it hurts me. You know, I used to love talking about Messi every single day. You know, reviewing matches with him in it was absolutely different class. So, of course, we all miss him in different ways. We all miss Messi at Barca, but there's been an absolutely fantastic super thanks coming in here. I really, really do appreciate the generosity, and it's a great question too, because it's all about here, Barca against Inter Miami. We know that this game, it's in the works. Inter Miami have even confirmed there that they have been talking about Barca, about doing it at some point in the future. We believe that it'll take place there, of course, in the brand new Camp Nou. It's going to be absolutely incredible, and of course there's the possibility in that game that Messi could maybe play half of it with Inter Miami and then half of it in a Barca shirt again, surrounded by a full stadium, brand new full stadium, full of Barca fans. And could that be the moment to properly say goodbye? Because I have to say, guys, it still hurts me to think about the way that it all ended with Lionel Messi. Now, of course, many years have gone by, and of course we're all sort of, you know, gotten over it, but at the same time, it still didn't end correctly. And I feel as though after everything Messi did here, after everything we all shared with Leo, with Barca, the two will always be connected no matter what happens. But you need a proper farewell. You need to properly say goodbye in a way that he deserves, in a way that we as fans deserve, to say goodbye to somebody who gave us so much. And I just think when we get that goodbye and when we get that full stadium with Messi in a Barca shirt again, maybe, then we can actually make peace with what happened. We can say farewell. We can enjoy the memories. It won't leave a sour taste. You know, right now it feels as though it's still just lingering. When you think about it too long, when you think about the way that Messi's exit happened, you know, it still was not done correctly, and it wasn't handled in the way that you would expect somebody of his stature to have been treated like. So I think that game, Barca into Miami, it will definitely happen, and it will be in the new stadium, and hopefully it will be the moment that we've waited for, and the moment that we can properly pay tribute to a legend. So indeed, guys, that right there is the very latest Barca news, and also plenty of your questions answered once again here today. Thank you indeed for all of you who are getting involved right now on the channel. It is a really exciting time, and please do let me know all of your thoughts down below on everything we have discussed today, from Frenkie de Jong to Lionel Messi and Ansu Fati as well. Lots of good stuff going on right now, and plenty for us to talk about. I will catch all of you soon. Thank you indeed for watching, but until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.